What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV, and in preparation to do another video, I just saw this very sad news that has broke not too long ago. That one of the greatest coaches in NBA history, one of the most accomplished and most respected individuals the sport has ever seen, has died. Jerry Sloan was 78 years old, and he had been in failing health for quite some time. Now, I was aware that he had Parkinson's disease, but I did not know that he had been also diagnosed with Lewy body dementia. And Lewy body dementia is actually a far graver illness and ailment than Parkinson's. Just for a reference point, that's the same disease that Robert Williams was suffering from before he committed suicide back in August of 2014. Um, Jerry Sloan was the longtime coach of the Utah Jazz. Um, I remember him taking over, and I think it was late 1988 or into 89. I want to say it was the 88, 89 season. He took over from Frank Layden, who himself was a very popular coach. But Jerry Sloan's tenure with the Utah Jazz was phenomenal. I mean, when you think about the fact when you think about the fact that all the competition that team had to fight throughout the time he was coach, the Showtime Lakers were still running. You know what I'm saying? Run TMC, the Houston Rockets with Olajuwon, Sean Kemp and Gary Payton with the Sonics. You had the Kemba Mutombo, Mahmoud Daruf with the Denver Nuggets. You know, later on, you had when that team was still together, you had the Kings, you know, with Chris Webber and Vlade Divac and those guys. You had the beginnings of the Dallas Mavericks with Dirk Nowitzki and Steve Nash. Also the Rockets later on with Charles Barkley and Drexler, and Portland, you know, early on with Clyde, and then the Jailblazers era, and all these teams in the Western Conference that they had to contend with night in and night out. But the Jazz always won 50 games, if not 60 games, and they were always a contender for the title. Ultimately, at their peak, making it to the NBA Finals back-to-back years, 1997 and 1998. And if it were not for the brilliance of one Michael Jordan, the Jazz, in my opinion, would have won at least two NBA championships. But Jerry Sloan's longevity in the sport goes all the way back to when he was a player. He was a Hall of Fame basketball player with the Chicago Bulls in the 1970s, known for his tenacious defense and toughness. He was an all-around great player, and had there been Defensive Player of the Year awards when he was playing in the 1970s, I assure you he would have won at least one of them back then. I'm reading from the article right now. This is from the Utah Jazz. Jerry Sloan will always be synonymous with the Utah Jazz. He will forever be a part of the Utah Jazz organization, and we join his family, friends, and fans in mourning his loss. We are so thankful for what he accomplished here in Utah and the decades of dedication, loyalty, and tenacity he brought to our franchise. Like Stockton and Malone as players, Jerry Sloan epitomized the organization. He will be greatly missed. We extend our heartfelt condolences to his wife, Tammy, the entire Sloan family, and all who knew and loved him. Jerry Sloan was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2009 after a 26-year coaching career. A career that probably would have extended if it wasn't for an asshole or assholes like Deron Williams. Yes, I said it. 23 of them with the Jazz. His no-nonsense style blended perfectly with Hall of Fame players Malone and Stockton, leading to 15 straight playoff appearances. The Jazz's nearly unstoppable pick-and-roll offense resulted in Western Conference titles in '97 and '98, but Utah lost each time to the Bulls. But there's no shame in that. Known for his defensive intensity as a player, Sloan became a fan favorite as one of the original Bulls. The original Bulls was a really good team in the 1970s that consisted of Jerry Sloan, Norm Van Leer, Bob Love, Nate Thurman, and Tom Boerwinkle, who's not mentioned here. Sloan's playing career was cut short by injuries after 10 years. He averaged 14 points per game, with a career best of 18.3 during the 70-71 season. Jerry Sloan was the original Bull, whose tenacious defense and nightly hustle on the court represented the franchise and epitomized the city of Chicago, Jerry Reinsdorf said in a statement. Jerry was the face of the Bulls organization from its inception throughout the mid-1970s, and very appropriately, his uniform number 4 was the first jersey retired by the team. A great player and a Hall of Fame NBA coach, most importantly, Jerry was a great person. Our sympathies go out to the Sloan family and all of his many fans. Jerry Sloan still ranks in the top 5 in Bulls franchise history in points, rebounds, games, and minutes. After he finished playing, Sloan accepted the head coaching job at his alma mater, Evansville, in 1977, but later on backed out, citing personal reasons. Sloan returned to basketball as a scout for the Bulls and was named an assistant for the team in 1978. He, co- he coached the Chicago Bulls for a couple of years, but was eventually fired. And between 1985 and 1989, he served as an assistant coach with the Utah Jazz. But then after Frank Layden stepped down, the rest was history, and the Jerry Sloan era of the Utah Jazz is one of the most successful in the history of the NBA. Jerry Sloan's 1,221 regular season victories are third all time behind only Don Nelson and Lenny Wilkens. Ever since Jerry Sloan has stepped down from the Utah Jazz, which I believe was during the 2010-2011 season, the Jazz have not really been the same franchise. They've had a little resurgence as of late, but the Utah Jazz were a powerhouse when Jerry Sloan was coaching there. And Jerry Sloan will be missed by all. Rest in peace, Jerry Sloan, the original Bull.